There is a part of human desire that almost no one talks about in public, but it whispers loudly in private moments. Words. Not just any words, but words that touch a nerve so deep they can change how the body reacts, how the heart races, and how the mind surrenders. Dirty talk is not only about lust. It is about power, vulnerability, and raw truth that most people hide during the day but crave in the dark. Some feel thrilled by it, others feel uncomfortable, yet it is one of the strongest psychological triggers between two people. Why does the mind respond to a simple phrase more than to a touch? Why can a whisper feel stronger than hands? The answer lives in the strange chemistry of the brain, where language is not only sound but an entire world of memory, fear, shame, and desire. The tongue is sharper than a knife, but it can also be softer than a kiss. To understand why dirty talk works so powerfully, we must walk into the darker corners of human psychology, where Freud's theories of repression, Jung's shadows, and the modern science of arousal all meet. Stay with me. Because this story is not about words. It is about power, intimacy, and the hidden self. The human brain does not treat words as simple sounds. Every word carries weight, memory, and meaning that can travel directly into the nervous system. A single phrase can raise the heartbeat, tighten the muscles, or soften the body. Words can wound, but they can also awaken. When someone whispers a forbidden phrase, the mind does not process it as only language. The brain lights up as if something dangerous, exciting, or deeply personal is happening. That is why dirty talk can be far more powerful than the touch of a hand. The brain is the largest sexual organ, and language is its favorite weapon. Think about how insults cut deeper than physical pain, or how a tender sentence spoken by someone you trust can stay with you forever. The same rule applies in the darker space of desire. The body follows the brain, and the brain follows language. When someone hears words charged with passion or taboo, it activates areas linked with memory, imagination, and fear. It is not only what is said but how it is said, tone, rhythm, and timing can trigger reactions stronger than any physical act. Science shows that language and arousal share pathways in the limbic system, the part of the brain that rules emotions, survival, and instinct. When a phrase is spoken in an intimate moment, it slips past rational thought and reaches the raw core of desire. It is almost like a code that unlocks hidden responses. Words can paint images in the mind faster than the eye can see, and the body responds to those images as if they were real. That is why someone can blush, tremble, or feel aroused even without a single touch, only from hearing or speaking certain words. But it is not only biology. Culture and personal history shape the meaning of those words. What excites one person may disgust another. A phrase that feels electrifying to someone may feel meaningless to someone else. This shows how language, arousal, and memory are woven together. Dirty talk is not universal. It is deeply personal, built from one's past experiences, hidden fantasies, and even childhood restrictions. A word banned at the dinner table may later become a trigger in the bedroom. This is not a coincidence. The forbidden always carries more power than the allowed. The reason dirty talk feels powerful is not because of the words themselves but because of what they represent: permission to cross a line, to play with danger, to explore the forbidden. When someone gives or receives those words, the brain reacts as if a taboo has been broken, and breaking rules often feels more thrilling than following them. The body listens to their mind, and the mind listens to their forbidden word. And so we see that language is not decoration in intimacy. It is a force that rewires the body, turns thought into sensation, and transforms silence into raw electricity. A phrase can make someone feel worshipped, degraded, wanted, or exposed. The impact depends on how the brain has tied meaning to the word. Words are not harmless. They are triggers that can control not just what a person feels but who they believe themselves to be in that moment. Sigmund Freud once said that repression is the cornerstone of civilization. Human beings bury their urges, hide their impulses, and cover their raw instincts beneath the mask of manners and social rules. Yet what is buried never dies. It hides in the unconscious, waiting for the right moment to rise. Dirty talk is one of those moments. It pulls the hidden material out of the shadows and lets it breathe. Words that society once punished become the very words that spark excitement in the private space between two people. Freud believed that much of human desire is shaped by childhood. A child learns early which words are forbidden, which subjects are shameful, and which emotions must be kept quiet. The punishment for speaking out of line might have been a scolding, a look of disapproval, or even a slap. The child's mind then stores these experiences, not as harmless memories, but as signs of danger. Certain words become charged with fear and shame. Later in life, those same words may carry an almost electric power. The forbidden becomes desirable. The brain learns that what is dangerous is also exciting. This is why taboo language has such a strong effect in the context of intimacy. A phrase that once belonged to the world of punishment now becomes a tool of pleasure. When spoken in a safe, consensual space, the brain feels the thrill of breaking the old rule without the real danger of punishment. The unconscious mind remembers the weight of the taboo, and when it is turned upside down, it creates arousal. Freud would say that this is the return of the repressed, the secret wish finally allowed to surface. At the same time, repression creates resistance. Not everyone can accept the rawness of dirty talk. Some feel disgust or discomfort, because for them, the old shame is still too heavy. Their unconscious is not ready to release the forbidden. Others embrace it fully, because for them, crossing the boundary brings liberation. It is the same dynamic we see in human culture: rules and rebellion, control and release. Dirty talk is not simply sexual play. It is a reflection of the lifelong struggle between repression and freedom inside every human mind. Beyond Freud, modern psychology shows that when something is forbidden, the brain stores it with stronger emotional memory. It is the same reason forbidden food tastes sweeter, or forbidden love feels stronger. The mind craves what it is denied. In the dark space of intimacy, dirty talk becomes the safest way to taste rebellion. It allows people to flirt with danger without leaving the room. The words themselves are not magical, but the psychological weight they carry is what makes them powerful. So when someone whispers a forbidden phrase, it is not just sound. It is history, memory, childhood, rebellion, and the hidden unconscious all colliding in one moment. That is why dirty talk is never only about arousal. It is about rewriting the story of shame, turning fear into pleasure, and breaking the chains of silence. If repression explains why dirty talk excites, then power explains why it controls. Human relationships are built on hidden struggles for dominance and surrender. Even in the softest love story, there are moments where one leads and the other follows, one gives and the other takes. Dirty talk makes this silent balance visible. Words spoken in passion are not only about desire but about who holds the frame, who dares to command, and who chooses to obey. When someone whispers a command or a degrading phrase, it is not only the meaning of the words that matters but the role they create. One becomes the master of the scene, the other becomes the willing subject. Strangely, both roles can feel intoxicating. For the one who speaks, there is the thrill of power, the rush of controlling another's reaction with nothing but language. For the one who listens, there is the surrender, the sweet relief of letting go of control, of being carried by the words of another. This is not weakness. It is the deeper truth that many people hide, that sometimes freedom is found not in leading but in surrendering. Psychologists who study power dynamics say that dominance and submission are not opposite forces but two sides of the same coin. Both roles allow the human mind to touch parts of itself that daily life denies. In the world outside, people are forced to be polite, balanced, and restrained. In the dark exchange of dirty talk, those masks are torn away. The cruel can play at cruelty without punishment. The obedient can find peace in surrender without shame. The words create a theater where instincts are free to act. This is why dirty talk often goes hand in hand with fantasies of control, punishment, or surrender. The language acts as a stage, painting a scene where the rules are different. Nietzsche once wrote that humans crave both the will to power and the will to be mastered. Dirty talk feeds both. It gives the speaker the fire of command and the listener the strange comfort of submission. Both find liberation in roles that society usually suppresses. But the power of dirty talk is not always about harsh words or domination. Sometimes it is about being praised, being worshipped, being told you are desired beyond reason. That, too, is power, because it puts one person on a pedestal and allows the other to kneel in devotion. Power is not always cruel. Sometimes it is tender. The psychology remains the same: roles are created, lines are drawn, and the words set the stage. What makes dirty talk so potent is that the brain cannot easily tell the difference between a fantasy role and reality. The body reacts to the story as if it were true. A phrase of dominance can make their heart pound in fear and excitement. A phrase of surrender can melt resistance and awaken trust. Both roles are real in the moment, because the mind is built to believe the story words tell it. So dirty talk is not random noise. It is a script of power, a ritual of roles. Whether someone feels strong or weak in that moment, what they truly feel is alive. And perhaps that is why humans return to it, again and again, not because of the words themselves, but because of the stage they create. Most people think dirty talk is only about lust, but beneath the surface it is also about something softer, something far more dangerous to the human heart: vulnerability. To speak words that reveal desire is to take a risk. It is to show a part of yourself that can be mocked, rejected, or ignored. And to listen to such words is also to accept that risk. That is why dirty talk is not only a game of pleasure. It is a form of emotional exposure. It says, I trust you enough to reveal the part of myself I hide from the world. In daily life, people carry masks. They speak politely, hide their needs, and avoid shame. But intimacy is the one space where those masks can fall. When someone dares to speak raw words of passion, they are not just playing with lust. They are asking to be accepted in their most unguarded form. And when the other responds, not with rejection but with hunger, the bond between them deepens. It is no longer only about bodies but about being seen and accepted without disguise. Psychologists say that intimacy is built not only on pleasure but on shared secrets. Dirty talk is one of those secrets. It is not meant for the world. It is a private language, a hidden code, a voice that exists only between two people. That secrecy makes it powerful. When someone hears a phrase that no one else is allowed to hear, they feel chosen. They feel trusted. That sense of exclusivity builds a deeper connection than any physical act. There is also the healing element. Many people carry shame about their desires. They fear being judged if they reveal what excites them. But when a partner accepts those words, repeats them, or even celebrates them, the shame begins to dissolve. What was once a secret wound becomes a source of strength. Freud may have called it catharsis, Jung may have called it shadow integration, but in simple terms, it is the relief of no longer hiding. At the same time, dirty talk requires listening. To use words that truly touch another, one must pay attention to their reactions, their breathing, their silence, their response. It forces both partners to be present, to tune into each other's emotions with precision. That kind of attention is rare in daily life. It creates a bond where each person feels deeply understood. The words themselves may sound crude, but the effect is tenderness, the feeling of being seen without judgment. So in the end, dirty talk is not only about control or rebellion. It is about building a bridge of trust. It is the courage to say, "This is who I am, in my darkest, rawest form. Do you still accept me?" And when the answer is yes, the intimacy becomes unbreakable. For in that moment, two people are not only lovers but witnesses of each other's hidden truth. There is a side of every human mind that society rarely acknowledges. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the part of ourselves we hide, deny, or fear. Nietzsche called it the will that desires freedom beyond rules. Dirty talk is a mirror into that shadow. The words people dare to speak, or allow themselves to hear, reveal parts of their psyche that often remain buried. When someone whispers a phrase that shocks or excites, it is not only desire they reveal but the hidden self that has been waiting for acknowledgement. The shadow is not evil. It is simply the unexpressed, unaccepted parts of our personality. When ignored, it festers, creating shame, anxiety, or secret cravings. When embraced carefully, it becomes a source of strength and understanding. Dirty talk allows people to step into that shadow safely. The phrases are symbols, doors into the unconscious, and by exploring them, people confront desires, fears, and vulnerabilities they would otherwise suppress. That is why the act feels electric, dangerous, yet liberating. Freud, Jung, and Nietzsche all pointed to the power of acknowledging the hidden self. Freud warned of repression, Jung taught that integrating the shadow leads to wholeness, and Nietzsche celebrated the courage to face the truth of one's instincts. Dirty talk is a small, intimate form of that confrontation. Each word spoken in the darkness becomes a tiny act of self-acceptance. It is a recognition that desire, fear, and vulnerability are natural, human, and worthy of attention. At the same time, this exploration is also a lesson in empathy. When someone speaks their hidden self, the listener is offered a glimpse into their psyche. The response, whether acceptance, curiosity, or reciprocal expression, can heal old wounds, strengthen trust, and create a bond that feels profound. In this way, dirty talk is both psychological and emotional alchemy. It transforms fear into pleasure, shame into confidence, and secrecy into intimacy. The lesson is simple but often overlooked: to hide from the shadow is to remain fragmented. To explore it, even through words that society labels inappropriate, is to reclaim pieces of oneself. Humans are complex, and their desires are not simple. By allowing language to reveal the forbidden, the intimate, and the powerful, people touch the raw essence of their humanity. Dirty talk becomes more than a sexual tool, it becomes a mirror, a bridge, and a catalyst for self-discovery. In the end, the power of dirty talk is the power of facing truth. It reminds us that what is hidden can be acknowledged, what is forbidden can be explored safely, and what is feared can be transformed into connection. It is the shadow speaking, the unconscious revealing itself, and the mind discovering freedom through words. In that delicate, charged space, two people are not merely lovers, they are explorers, confronting the hidden depths of desire, trust, and the self together. This is why dirty talk works so powerfully, because it is not about words alone. It is about the mind, the body, and the hidden world within every human soul. It is the bridge between shadow and light, silence and confession, fear and liberation.